each other. Simply doing good to others is not what we need. What we need is the gift of empowering others when we help them to turn around and use their strengths to build the kind of world we all want to live in.
I became interested in time dollars because I became aware that our formal cash economy is a lens, in a way, that allows us to see certain things very clearly, but actually distorts other things. Looking at the world through the cash economy, we only value things that we measure through their cash value, and that means a number of social interests get discounted because we don't sell them.
The goal of time dollars is to create a sense of community in neighborhoods. And so what we're really doing is we're alleviating isolation, we're building trust in community. If you think about what's happened in the past 20 or 30 years, family and friends are often scattered all over the world. And people move a lot more than they used to. So what's happened is we not only don't trust our neighbors, we often don't know our neighbors. So what Time Dollars aims to do is bring back some of that sense of community in neighborhoods by connecting neighbors with each other through exchange of services.
When we have people that are having a hard time thinking of things that they could offer, I always suggest some of the basic things that we do every day and kind of take for granted, you know, that we do them, and somebody else might need that service. Making phone calls for people who are homebound, driving, transportation, things like that.
A series of exchanges might begin with Isu, who uses a time dollar for a kayaking lesson with Catherine. With the time dollar she earns, Catherine has Bob fix her shed. Bob gives his time dollar to Morgan so she can take a guitar lesson with Michael, who has Teresa change his oil, who uses a time dollar to pay for a haircut.
What time dollars does is it allows people to get what they need right within a certain and small geographical location, but it also gets neighbor to neighbor checking in on each other and helping each other. I can imagine that most of the people that have had some experience with time dollars, seeing somebody who's helped them out on the street brings an instant connection.
The heart of Time Dollars is equality. This has been mentioned already today, but it is truly the heart. 1 hour of service equals one time dollar regardless of the service. What we're trying to do is level the playing field. What we're saying is every human being is a miracle. Everybody has something of value to contribute.
The beauty of the Maine Time Dollars network is it allows senior citizens who participate to contribute to their community, to meet people, to be a valuable part of their neighborhoods and their city. And when they need help, they are able to call on other Maine Time Dollar members to provide services for them without feeling like they're asking for a handout or a charity or anything like that. They're really taking care of themselves.
The way that things are now in our world is, you know, we live in our little apartments in our houses and we don't know who lives down the hallway, and we get to meet people that we wouldn't have otherwise.
Time Dollars reminds me of the old days when it was okay to do something for you. Like people in the old days, well, if they have a fire or something, they have a tremendous, everybody will go, move on, and help that person then. Same principle as Maine Time Dollar. Whoever needs it gets it. And you don't need it, then you give it to somebody else again.
In Africa, we help people. If we see somebody doing something, they'll help you. You know, it's like part of us. And here in America, people are so busy, you know, they don't have time. And Time Dollar is, to me, Time Dollar is something like that. You know, we give, we receive. Being a member of Time Dollar, it's like, I'm home.
What's really exciting right now is that we're also part of the international Time Dollar movement. There are over 200 Time Dollar programs located throughout the world. And in Maine, we're in the process of mobilizing a statewide network of programs. So our Portland project is the pilot project. We've been here for just about 3 years, and our members exchanged over 8,000 hours of services with each other this past year. So we will be using this project as a model as we grow throughout the state.
The Maine Time Dollar exchanges are truly characterized by being mutually supportive. In very much the same way that a service dog, this is Angelo here, supports me and I take care of him. And together we have a really good life, and that's how I feel in my neighborhood.
I need what you can do in your world at least as much as you need what I can do in mine. We need each other.
Partners in Care is a group of people made up out of love.
It's just those little things that help a whole lot, and people remember.
It's such a easy, rewarding way to volunteer and help people.
There's nothing better than the sense of helping others. Money can't buy that kind of feeling.
Partners in Care had helped me because I had thought one time that maybe I should go into a senior citizen place, but I don't want to let my house go. But the things they have done to provide me to live in my house have helped me tremendously. The reason why I call Partners in Care because I need their assistance to help me with rails because I have very severe arthritis in both of my knees, so I needed that kind of help. I had tears when I just see that so much love can be given to people in need. They are very wonderful people, and thank God for them.
Partners in Care is a local community nonprofit whose mission is to help older adults stay independent in their own homes, and also to create community through the service exchange concept. And that's what makes it different.
And many of these people have lived in their homes for 40, 50, 60 years, and they really want to age in place. They don't want to leave their homes.
About 75% of what I do is transport the elderly either to doctor's appointments, hospitals, or grocery shopping, or just general errands.
I'm on my way now to pick up Elizabeth Crowner. Elizabeth is a widow who lives alone and has no means of transportation, so specifically today we're going down to take Elizabeth to the grocery store so she can do her grocery shopping.
There is a somewhat of an independence of the rural people who sometimes we have to even prod them to let us help them. They're reluctant to do that. So part of our job is helping these people know what we do and get them to participate in the program. Well, the whole concept of Partners in Care is based on the exchange program. There are some things that actually some of our people do at home that allow the people who we are driving now to participate in the program to earn some hours. So it doesn't feel like they're accepting charity. They're earning the right for us to transport them. I'm building up hours in the program, so when it comes time that I would need these kind of services, I wouldn't be reluctant to call them because basically you've built up the hours in there.
Then you have the person who comes into the program basically thinking they're only going to help you. And we'll take, for instance, Margaret, who's been working in our shop for 5 years. And she's an independent, spry lady who's never really had to ask for help.
I'm the manager of the Partners in Care upscale retail boutique. We have the nicer clothes that people don't need any longer. What I am receiving from Partners in Care, I have been diagnosed with cancer, and for the past 3 months I have been taking chemo once a month, 5 days a week. Someone from Partners in Care will come and pick me up at the house and bring me home. Things are different for me because I think you don't realize how many people are less fortunate than you, that need more help than you really need, and that we are able to provide some of that help.
When I get out of being in the program is just the satisfaction of giving somebody else assistance, because everybody needs people.
The caring shows through in everything they do, and the seniors feel that. They don't feel like it's a cold organization. They feel like it's part, almost family.
The program Partners in Care ends up being kind of an extended family to all the volunteers and the clients.
They don't realize how much they have helped me physically, mentally, and spiritually, and cheerfully.
This is a fence that Partners in Care replaced. I don't think I'll paint it, because it'll get natural, you know, it'll age, like me.
Since 1998, communities in Gloucestershire have been using their own currency, a new form of money called fair shares.
Money is just an information system which links people's assets with people's needs, and time banks bring the two together. But there are lots of other ways in which we can do it. And I think, you know, with the multiplicity of new electronic currencies and corporate currencies and loyalty currencies and barter currencies out there in the corporate world, you know, it's soon going to be a very complicated place to live, you know, dealing with money. And big multinationals will be issuing it along with governments. And I think that what we have to realize is that we have it within our power, not by ourselves, but with each other, to issue our own money.
The Fair Shares Time Bank operates much like a blood donors bank. People deposit the time they spend helping others and draw out the time of other donors as and when they may need them. Every hour you give, you get an hour back. Everyone's contribution is valued equally, and 1 hour spent looking out for someone earns one fair share.
Once the application forms come back and we've sent for references and the references have come back, then they can be entered onto the computer, which keeps all the records of what they can do and what they're offering and possibly what they want, although they can't ask for anything. Whether it's on the list or not, there's always somebody who can do something.
In May 1999, the Nuance scheme was launched by Edgar Cahn, the inventor of time money, and Melanie Lovelock, who had already banked over 60 hours. Hundreds of people came from all over Gloucestershire to celebrate the amazing success of Fair Shares as the UK pilot for time money.
Well, I do an old lady's washing for her, and that's really nice because it's a social event. I go around and pick the washing up and sit down, have a chat. There's a girl on the estate that I've never met before who cut my hair. I made friends with her. My bike's being mended at the moment over there, which is great because I'm useless with a spanner. And there just seems such a pool of sort of talent, you know, that I think it's great that you can ring up and say, is there someone who can do such and such for me, who can mend my bike? And they say, oh yes, and somebody comes around and does it.
It's very important to develop community life. And most of us spend a lot of time behind our front doors. We don't go out. They're not the same sort of communal opportunities to do things now as perhaps there were a few years ago. There's a lot of sort of concern about home security and so on. And so there needs to be some sort of safe way in which people can meet each other, invite people into their houses and get help from other people, knowing that they're properly screened, that nobody's going to exploit them or take advantage of them. And so in this sense, it's a good way of building communities. It's also good because it gets people doing things together, it builds up social contacts, and in a way it creates communities in places perhaps where there hasn't been one before.
Very much the philosophy of Fair Shares is that everybody has something to give. So whereas in the past perhaps somebody's been a passive receiver from something, they can now give back through Fair Shares, which is something a lot of them really like.
My husband does voluntary driving,
and I can help in the office like I'm doing today. He also takes a turn doing the office, and this is some of our things that we can do to earn our fair shares. And we really enjoy it. We really enjoy it. And I've had in return, I've had my shed painted. I've had some weeding done, and I've also been able to bank some of my earnings, as you say, to let someone else use them that can't do anything in return. It's a very fair way of doing things.
One of the important things for me about fair shares is obviously that people are going to gain something. There's something given and people receive that. But for me, the important thing, it's a mutual thing. You don't just receive, you actually give as well.
Joan, in one of the projects, she likes to get out and about in the community, but she had a lot of needs herself, and when she heard about fair shares, she liked the idea of being able to earn a credit through folding leaflets or doing some administrative work for us. Cheers. All right, well, thanks very much, Joan. I'll see you soon. All right, cheers. Bye.
Fair Shares is a fantastic way to encourage community involvement and to build stable communities. It gives people an opportunity really to have a little bit of give and take, to really contribute as well as take out from the community.
Joan finds her garden a little too difficult to manage these days, so she uses her fair shares to get Janet to do this for her. Janet cashes in the fair shares she earns by doing Janet's garden to get her car washed by Carol, another participant.
The fair shares idea, where you place in a central information store what skills you've got, how many hours you can give, and your skills can be taken out of the store, and that means you've got X number of hours in your credit in the information store. You can then ask other people to provide you with their skills when you need them. And every hour, whatever you provide, is as valuable as anybody else's hour.
When participants join, they may have a specific skill or a craft that they would just like to share with people, a hobby, an interest in music. One of our participants has joined and she likes to make crafts and makes paper, and she's offered that as a skill on Fair Shares, and that really gives other participants something enjoyable which they can get back through doing the dog walking or the shopping. They can get something sort of tangible back by going and having a paper making session and maybe make some Christmas cards or birthday cards. So that's really nice. That is an angle that we can obviously cover through Fair Shares. It's very dependent on the individual participant that joins as to what kind of services come about.
It's twofold. You're soaking up the water and you're pressing it off the mesh. You can see it's letting go. That's what you need to see, is that it's letting go of the mesh. There we are.
If you are trying to nurture or recreate a better sense of community and neighbourliness, part of that is friendship and companionship and knowing that there are people around who will stop and say hello to you. And this is what happens with Fair Shares. Lots of people then get to meet people that they perhaps wouldn't meet. I mean, we've got one lady who was one of our very first participants to ask for some help. She's 87, she lives alone, doesn't leave the house, and needed somebody to walk her dog and do some shopping. She does things from us at home. She packs leaflets, and out of that she's met lots of new people, and the number of letters I've had from her saying how good it is and how much she enjoys it and how much she enjoys that particular person, and she'll ring up. And in fact this year she rang to say that she'd got 15 birthday cards, so that says something about the friendships that comes out of it.
People gain self-esteem, and a community with people who are gaining in self-esteem is a community which is gaining in strength. The beneficiaries are the people who give, the people who receive, and the community as a whole.
Local schools are keen to help publicise fair shares as a way of becoming actively involved in their local community. Some pupils from Wycliffe School earn fair shares by leafleting the local area. Deep down, we all know that our lives are more enjoyable and meaningful when we feel that we are being valued and appreciated by our family, our friends, neighbours and colleagues. We all need to be needed.
I often read now statistics which show that so many of us are in debt. And in debt is a position which actually encourages a lot of stress and worry in people's lives. Whereas that is the fundamental part of our economic system, is debt. So maybe we should start looking at an economy which is not based on money, but is exchanging, whether it be traded goods through local exchange and trading systems, or community building, answering the real basic needs of people in a community through fair shares.
Sekizen village lies in the inland sea and is composed of 3 small islands. The population is 986 and 46% of it is over the age of 65. This is the 3rd highest rate of elderly people in Japan. However, this depopulated island is now changing rapidly. Mrs. Kusakabe has car engine trouble, but she doesn't know what to do. Then she remembered that Takashi is an amateur mechanic. Okay, it's done. How much do I owe you? Just 1 chip, please. Is that all? Sure, next time I need your help, I will ask you. They belong to a time dollar group called Dandan. Dandan is a word taken from the area's dialect, and it means thank you very much for your kindness. I really enjoy being a member of Dandan. I want to help Takashi next time whenever he needs it. 5 years ago, Dandan started to use chips in exchange for services. Dandan's leader Michiko Bito explains that by exchanging chips, we have been developing caring spirits between the young and the old. Though it won't show, I feel love and warmth have been exchanged between members with these chips. We not only help each other, but also ask for help more often. Until Time Dollar was introduced, we felt ashamed to ask for help. But exchanging chips freed the barrier between young and old, between strangers. In Sekizen, the seniors are determined to remain self-sufficient and productive. They are the ones who previously brought prosperity through shipping, agriculture, and fishing. Now this tradition is being threatened by depopulation. The community spirit has also been weakened. Hello, I'm here. Today, Mrs. Bito will go to Imabari on the mainland for shopping. Mr. Chikamatsu, 80 years old, is taking her to the pier. Mr. Chikamatsu is a gardener. He provides transportation for Dandan members, and he uses his credits for chatting and telling his old-day stories. See you, thank you. After I lost my wife, I was very lonesome. But now I have many friends. They need me. They are no longer strangers to me. Dandan became an extended family. Chips can buy care, warmth, and love, which money cannot buy. Could you trim this branch? Dandan offers more than 30 services. Just to mention a few: babysitting, tree trimming, animal care, and even morning wake-up calls. They also have many active young members. Mrs. Imura came from outside the island to marry into a village family. Until I found Dandan, I was a stranger. This island has a traditional spirit of mutual aid, but before, it only existed between natives. Now this chips has systemized this mutual aid. I'm no longer a stranger because of these chips. I can freely ask for help with these chips. 30 minutes, one chip. Thank you. Converting services into these chips helps to preserve the old and to embrace the new. Gradually, Sekizen is becoming an extended family.
Most Americans, I believe, are kind people, and now there is a way to turn kindness and good deeds into a kind of currency. Now, that's not why we should do good things, but if good can be shared, there'll be more of it. Intrigued? Here's Ralph Nader. Ralph?
Thanks, Bill. When most of us think of going to the bank, it's probably to deposit or receive money. Well, why not take that thought a step further and consider another kind of bank? A place where you deposit care and giving and then earn the care and giving of others in return. That's exactly the concept being put to the test in a number of cities across the country. It's receiving a lot of interest, helping thousands of people get services they couldn't otherwise afford. Here is Joel Loy with the story.
Money, money, money. Money, money, money.
This is the way most of us think of doing business. Passing the buck is how we get what we want and need. And while it's a system that seems to work for most of us, bottom line is, with the cost of living today, it can be easy to feel shortchanged. It's a problem that affects not only the poor, but more and more of us, especially as we reach retirement. Fixed incomes mean limited cash flow, and that can often mean doing without to make ends meet. Attorney Edgar Cahn thought there had to be a better way.
We had people here and needs here and no way of putting the two together at a time when federal funds were going to be cut back. And so I asked myself, why can't we create another kind of money to put people and social needs together?
And so he did. Cahn created a way of putting America's aging population back to work by capitalizing on its wealth of experience. Instead of exchanging money, seniors like Daisy Alexander exchange volunteer time. Help a neighbor, and down the line, a neighbor will help you.
What is this? A goat?
Daisy spends up to 6 hours a week tutoring children at this Miami public school.
I teach them math and drawing and writing and the ABCs, and I explain to them about the different colors.
Besides the personal gratification of helping others, Daisy earns an hour of credit for every hour she volunteers. The credits are deposited at South Shore Hospital in a sort of computer savings bank. Then, when Daisy needs help, she can withdraw them.
This is Alexander, Pepe. ¿Cómo está?
Today, Daisy Alexander is cashing in. Another friend-to-friend volunteer, Pepe Rubal, is taking Daisy food shopping, a task he'll also earn credits for. We asked Daisy what she'd do if there weren't someone like Pepe out there.
Well, that's a big question. I really don't know. Before Pepe, I had paid some neighbors to take me shopping.
Deja ver si me puedo, porque es que como yo no... Sabes que my English no good, pero yo...
You are good amigo.
Pepe speaks only Spanish, Daisy only English, yet somehow they manage to find a common language. And perhaps that's what's most amazing about Miami's credit program, the unusual friendships it's fostered among Hispanics and blacks in this racially divided city.
It's not just a matter of converting time into dollars. It's really a matter of converting strangers into friends, and neighbors into extended family, to rebuilding community, rebuilding the sense of family and caring for each other.
That sense of family has been the greatest reward for Pepe and his wife, Thelma, who also volunteers in the Friend-to-Friend program.
Before, I don't know I can do it, because I was isolated in my home with Pepe, watching TV. I don't do nothing else. Now we do it. We go over there to the mill site, and we have a lunch with that people. And this is great, really.
In fact, it seems as though most people who participate in service credit programs, at least initially, get involved more for the friendships than the credits. That's definitely what motivated widow Dorothy Gottschall, who belongs to a program in Brooklyn, New York.
Unfortunately, most of my older friends have passed on, so I have met a great deal of nice people. This is for Mimi.
Gottschall offers companionship and peer counseling to Barbara McCaffrey, who is housebound with emphysema.
Oh, it's a godsend to me. At least I can talk to her and tell her if there's anything bothering me. And she's understanding. She's very nice.
McCaffrey and Gottschall are members of Elder Plan. Run by a health maintenance organization, it offers its credit volunteers a 25% discount on their health premiums.
And that's an extra benefit. But that is not really the major part. I do it because I really started now. I really enjoy it now.
A few service credit programs are attempting to reach out to a younger generation. In Miami's Little Havana, seniors help to staff a free daycare center so mothers like Angela Alvara can work.
If I wouldn't have it, I wouldn't be able to work, and I would have to go to welfare. I really like it, because they're grandmothers and things like that, so I know that she's taking care of it very well.
Miami's Friend-to-Friend program recently held a party to honor the more than 600 senior volunteers who banked more than 80,000 credits. Unlike traditional volunteer programs that lose about half their members, the Friend-to-Friend program proudly boasts a dropout rate of only 3%.
The credits seem to be a validation of their sense of self-worth. The credits seem to say, what you do is appreciated and valued, and the numbers take on a meaning of their own.
If nothing else, it seems to prove there are some things that money just can't buy.
Ralph, that program looks like it's very effective. Can it be applied on a broader basis?
Bill, that's all part of Edgar Cahn's vision, to use the barter system to strengthen social services for all ages. For example, it can be used for repairing housing, tutoring in the schools, caring for latchkey kids, and shopping services for the disabled. The possibilities are unlimited.
Where can we get more information on this?
If you want more information, just send a self-addressed stamped envelope to Time Dollar, Post Office Box 19367, 19367, Washington, D.C., 20036.
Interesting report, Ralph. Thank you.
Recently, as I'm sure you'll recall, the President's Summit on Volunteerism kicked off a nationwide campaign aimed at getting Americans to donate their time and talents for a good cause. Well, many in this country already give generously of themselves, but the problem of how to motivate others remains. Recently, we met one man who thinks that he might have an answer, and it lies in a system that offers the giver some very tangible rewards.
These are the new tomatoes. I don't like them. They're potatoes.
Clara Feinberg is in her 80s and has trouble getting around. Rhoda Cohen enjoys doing volunteer work. 2 years ago, a social HMO in Brooklyn named Elder Plan got the two of them together.
How about eggs?
Now, once a week, Rhoda helps Clara run errands. Rhoda gets satisfaction from helping, but she also gets something else. For every hour Rhoda spends volunteering, she earns one time dollar, which is entered on this computer. Rhoda can then spend those time dollars on services offered by other volunteers. Mashi Bleck is the program coordinator.
We have teams of volunteers who specialize in specific areas. Rhoda requested a home repair. Angelo Furio was matched with Rhoda to provide this service. The time dollars earned by Angelo providing this service will be deducted from Rhoda's time dollar account.
You're a whiz. It took me so short. A wonderful time. Oh, wonderful.
We've created a place where people can come and bring their skills, and they can also count on each other to know that they can get help when they need it.
Guarantee your chest.
Nearly 70 communities in over 30 states have time dollar systems. In Brooklyn, volunteers earn time dollars by teaching this arthritis workshop, while in Washington, D.C., time dollars can be used to pay for Spanish lessons.
People right now have to choose between helping others and looking out for themselves. This is a way of looking out for yourself by looking out for others.
Professor Edgar Cahn of the D.C. School of Law created the time dollar concept.
Time dollars is both an information system that tells you who's available, whom you can trust, and it also makes it okay to ask for help because you're going to pay back. Ever since we put time dollar software on the internet so that community groups could download it free, it's begun to spring up all over the place.
At this housing project in D.C., Adam Williams earns time dollars by providing daycare for a neighbor's child. He can then spend those time dollars at a community food bank. And in Chicago, Andrew Jones is one of nearly 1,000 students taking part in a time dollar peer tutoring program.
D. What's the sound of D? Dog. The upper grader students, they tutor the younger students. You know, to help them build up their skills better.
What's the prefix on this one?
Every day that you come after school, you get one time dollar. And once you work up to 100 time dollars, then you get a free computer. Now I got my computer, I'm not going to quit. It's very much worth it. You should just see the faces on those little kids when they're like, oh, I got this, I got that, and oh, now I know how to do it.
That's where the longhand goes.
A community will hear about it, read about it, they'll call us up and we'll work with them. It's really a strategy that they can use to fulfill their dreams and their objectives.
Edgar Cahn hopes that time dollar systems will help reconnect communities. But Clara Feinberg says she's just happy to have found a friend.
She's always got that smile, greets me with a smile. I love her. That's true. She's wonderful.
I'll see you next week.
But I would say more friends than volunteer.
From NBC News World Headquarters in New York, this is NBC Nightly News, reported by Brian Williams.
The city of St. Louis, it is possible for someone to find a job, work very hard, turn in a week of real work for no pay. There is compensation, but it's different, and in a way, they're also paying something back. NBC's Jim Avila reports tonight on a new use of the barter system.
Lawrence Thurman does not have a paying job,
I want the headphones go that way.
but he is working and earning more than self-respect.
Neighbors helping neighbors is very beneficiary.
For every hour he spends doing chores for neighbors, Lawrence earns make-believe money called time dollars, which he can spend on services from other neighbors or buy donated merchandise from the church store.
It lets people know, regardless of what it is that you have to offer, you're special because you can do this.
The barter-style program may be an answer to the dilemma facing all of America's inner cities. The new federal welfare law mandates that anyone on assistance find a job, but those same rules say that working for time dollars qualifies. And what participants especially like is that they're working in their own neighborhoods.
This is meaningful work. This is real work. So the jobs may not be there in the marketplace, but the work that needs to be done in our communities exists.
Mothers on welfare provide child care for one another, solving a problem which severely limits a single mother's ability to work.
I like to watch kids, and they always ask me to watch their kids study, and they give me more time dollars. She did a babysitting service for like 4 or 5 hours. That's just four time dollars.
The jobs and time spent are documented by computer.
I'll come and give you your groceries.
Things like trips to the store for the elderly, daycare, cleanup duty, and cooking. Last year, 3,000 jobless people worked 45,000 hours.
It clearly dispels the myth that people on welfare are incompetent, lazy, unable to solve their own problems.
States from Maine to Colorado are watching this St. Louis experiment, which is creating a sense of community and a sense of optimism. Jim Avila, NBC News.
To eke out the potential in people and see what they can offer to the community and each other.
You give some hours and then you get things back according to what you need.
And I think it's brilliant because an hour of someone's time is equal to an hour of someone else's time, whatever they're doing.
Instead of having money exchange hands or gifts.
They're making time into currency, basically.
I think that's basically all it is, to help people.
And if you do something for somebody, it helps to get that bond going.
People get together, but they both gain. It's a two-way thing.
So it's encouraging good neighbours, as we used to do years ago.
A time bank is a means to exchange time and skills in your local area.
Erin walked into this office one day and said, I've got some time to spare, can I do some volunteering? The first thing I did was jump on her for the escort for school because the children would respond to her very well.
Right, gang, are we ready to get these kids? Let's go.
It's like being the lollipop lady, but walking with the kids the whole way from school to the centre. There are usually 2 of us trying to keep them in pairs to bring them back safely crossing the road and then back here. It just, I suppose, put me in a place where I could find out more what was happening. And I spoke to Anne, and she let me know about the things that are happening in Timebank and just how it works.
Some people don't know they've got skills. Some people say things like, oh, I don't know what I could offer. All these things are skills. It's up to the broker to really know who they've got in their bank, so you can eke out the potential in people and see what they can offer to the community and each other.
For every hour you spend helping someone in a time bank, you receive 1 time credit. Erina earned time credits doing the walking bus and spent those credits in a poetry workshop.
Anywhere else you probably would be charged something for being in a class which is being led by a published poet.
What you have here sometimes are natural assonance.
And we pay Tessa with our time credits. And then to gain credits, again, I will go out with the group and we'll go and read poems.
A cocktail of nations in that sleepless tin pot.
I'm probably the youngest person there, and it goes right up to like 80s or something, which is good because it means it's inclusive to lots of people.
Be thankful I'm geriatric, with legs that have lost their spring. Otherwise, I think, my friends, you would have a different song to sing. Especially that nice fat blackbird so busily filling his tum. If I were younger, he'd be filling mine. Ooh, wouldn't that be fun?
Through her time bank activities and meeting Anne, Erina found out about a full-time job.
A job opportunity came vacant in the community centre, and she applied for it along with others. When we saw her time bank form, she was more than qualified.
And then we can get your details on this. My job is to look after the learners who come here. You meet people who are probably your neighbours, and just seeing where they are at and that you can give them something, you can help them in some way and just encourage them in their learning.
Plastic bottles, glass bottles and cans.
Time banking is a great way to reward valuable work that often goes unnoticed, such as the recycle pick, organised by Kirsty.
Okay. You're counting?
Yeah.
Oh, blood.
166. Okay, wow, 16.86.
Okay. All done? Please, write it down.
330.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
Write it down.
Excellent. I should come in.
Thank you for organising it, Kirsty.
Time banks can help provide local support for the more vulnerable in society.
Somebody with obsessive compulsive disorder, for example, what this person wanted was somebody to offload to.
Basically, I felt like I was really, really struggling. At times I felt completely kind of out of my depth.
And then you remember, I've got a listener that's patient, who genuinely wants to sit and help that person.
Yes, no, absolutely. It's trying to listen to people and trying to understand needs more than sort of the surface level of things.
The relationship we've built up over time, and I feel I can gain a better perspective on where I've been and kind of where I'm going.
It simplifies things and can put more meaning into your work if you know that what you're doing is for the person next door. I think it slightly changed my attitude towards what work is and what work can be.
Time banking is about give and take, but you don't have to earn time credits before you can spend them, as Claire found out when she visited a cycle maintenance workshop.
That's the point.
I've got a couple of bikes and I don't really know how to maintain them.
If it's rubbing, you'd soon hear it, but your wheel's nice and straight.
Then I always just take it to a bike shop and pay for somebody to do it, so now I might get Allen keys and start doing a bit myself.
The time banks are very needs-led, you know, so it's you telling us what you need and you telling us what you enjoy doing.
Time banks are open to everyone and it's completely free to join. A time bank can provide the perfect link to connect with the skills available in local organisations.
I currently do cycle training to young people around Islington as a cycling officer.
I want to be able to cycle to work.
Yep.
I don't know the route of how to do it yet.
But what I'm thinking is regarding the time bank is I'd take you out to the route that you want to go on. We start at the beginning, just work through the whole route.
That feels quite far away from the cars actually.
You are quite far away, but you've got to protect yourself, so...
Practice a few different manoeuvres that I wouldn't have been confident in trying before, sort of coming out into the middle of the road and turning right, for instance.
The position we want to be in for a right turn is pretty much towards the central line, exactly. So, checking behind as you go. Give a signal, and then just before you turn, one last look over your shoulder, call it the lifesaver look. There's a few different avenues it could go. There's myself being able to train people within the time bank. Also maybe Claire could be a cycling buddy to someone. Then she could even earn her own credits that way.
I've filled in the application and so I can give some time as well. It's quite difficult to think of what time you want to receive back from someone else, and we would never have thought of this. It just came out of the bike workshop and it's been really, really ideal.
Time banks can be located anywhere, and its possibilities are only limited by our imaginations. As head teacher Wendy discovered with the introduction of an innovative approach to time banking.
With the buddy bench, it's formalised a situation where there's always a space where you can be looked after, and there's always someone to do it.
Buddy bench is a place where young children, if they're upset or alone, can go to. It's a bench where people can go if something's happened in the playground or somebody said something to them.
It helps in resolving any of the conflicts that they might have in the playground.
Buddy bench helpers normally have a red band on that goes across them. So then if anybody sits on the bench, they go to them and they ask them, what's wrong, what can we do to help? Hey son, what's the matter? Charlotte, I don't want to play with me. Let me just go find Charlotte, come here a sec. I was having water and then she came and pushed me. She pushed me first and I pushed her back. Is this true, Seven? But did you push her? Yeah. Who did it first? Charlotte. If someone was upset over something, the buddy bench would try and do a peace path, which is they get the person that's been upsetting the other person and they ask what they want, and then the person repeats that and say what they want, and the other person repeats that, and then so on until they find a good solution. Okay, why don't we do the peace path, okay? How are you feeling, Seven? Sad. Good. How about you, Charlotte? So you're both feeling upset, and what would you two like as the solution? Charlotte? Maybe reach out and shake hands. Maybe reach out and shake hands. Then what are you waiting for? Shake hands and apologise. Sorry. Now, go and play. There's less issues in the playground now for definite. If you do a specific amount of time, then like at the end of the term or something, you go on a trip.
The children who've been in the buddy bench, their time is sort of banked into a pool, and so they then get a trip out.
We've been on hikes, bowling. Like Miss Meredith right now, she's saving up so we can all go horse riding.
It just helps to develop an all-round individual, and the kind of people that we want our children to grow up to be. Helpful, supportive, yeah, there for each other.
It's just old-fashioned community spirit, helping your neighbour, helping each other. But you also gain from it. You gain experience. You gain friendships, and with the view to possibly having a job, having a future, doing things that you never thought you would do, trying things out for the first time, getting an opportunity to experiment where your skills lie, because that's a hard thing to do. If you want to come and genuinely help in the community, help each other, the ideal way to do it is in a time bank.